Hello, hello, hello. This is the Angels in Politics broadcast, and remember, you are the news. Um, and I am the creative and artistic manifestation of Angels in Politics. The White Collar Goon is one of many titles that I go by. But of course, you understand that the misidentification of the ego is the cause of most individuals' suffering. So sometimes limiting yourself by calling your by being called this, that, and the third, having these labels, having these parameters set for who you think you are. That is just encumbering you. That is serving as a barrier for your growth, your development, and for your boundless, unlimited capacity for excellence. Okay, so boom. I am continuing to provide you with my I won't say information, but I'm just recounting my experiences for my Kundalini rising. All right, this is part 3. Um just to rehash, part 1 was really about what I was coming to terms with as far as the Kundalini. I had no idea about it, didn't know what it was, just knew there were some things going down within me. Um, I was spending a lot of time outdoors, and not outdoors like I'm at one with nature now currently. More so like just, I was out back in the backyard, drinking heavy, smoking heavy. Um, but in those moments, I would never change that. Within those moments, I was finding there was something within me that was trying to come out. There was something that was in me, and I was like, oh, like what is that, And I had no idea what it was, and I think it definitely was triggered. Due to me smoking and due to me like relaxing the body and being in a an altered state of mind. I was spirited, put it that way. I was activating a spirit whilst I was under the influence of heavy spirits at the time. Um, part 2 really discusses um, the factors, uh, the the features or the characteristics, the breakdowns. That's what I guess part 2 is about. The breaking downs of the physical, of the flesh, of the physical realm. I think in part 1 I was telling you how, like, yo man, I was feeling like what is going on. I didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't have words for it. I couldn't describe within words what it was. I know for by a feeling it was like, yo, something is like turned up. Like I actually felt like scared. I felt scared because I was like, do I have a demon within me? Like, is there like a demonic spirit in me? Is there literally something that I cannot control that I don't know what it is? And I remember having one of those. There were kriyas, but I mean there were times I just called them episodes. And I'm like, uncontrollably shaking and convulsing, and rotating my neck, and all of these types of things is the manifestation of the Kundalini energy that's at the bottom of your spine, that is coiled in a form of a snake. And as it moves up, as it travels up from the bottom of your spine, and it's under your sacroiliacus, or the sacrum. It's underneath that bone, that is the bottom of the spine, that pretty much is the central piece of your pelvis. So as it travels up the 7 chakras, which are attached to the spine, and the lowest chakra is your root chakra, which is your base chakra. Then the sacral chakra, your sacral chakra, which will be your sexual, creative, emotional energy, your fluid energy. Then there's the solar plexus chakra, which is the tummy, the stomach. Then the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the crown. No, the pineal gland chakra, and then the crown chakra, the universal cosmic, the universal energy, the psychic, and not psychic like, oh man, I know some shit that you don't know, like more so like you're able to allow that universal consciousness to rush in, and as it rushes in, that's what's it, root is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pineal gland, which is what they call the third eye chakra, and then the seventh is here. So as it travels up the spine, it's not just a smooth it's not a smooth transition. I mean, it works the way, I mean, and I can only describe it for me, but you will feel the veracity, or something visceral. It will be a visceral feeling, that it's not like, oh, I'm feeling like somebody's tapping me on my shoulder, or like, oh no, I'm just feeling like I got a little tingle in my foot. Like, no, 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 no. When it passes through a chakra, like, it is a full on, I mean, it's a full on shift through your body, through the full body, and it is, sometimes they can be, they're never really that mild, honestly. I mean, I guess for some people it could be mild, but for me, it will put you on your ass. It will put you on the floor. It will have, I had saliva flying out of my mouth. I was seeing like colors of the rainbow. The spectrum was flashing in my head as my eyes were closed. You know, when you close your eyes, it's just darkness. Or if you're outside in the sun, then you might see like the remnants of what the external world is within your, within, you know, you having your eyelids closed. But like, this was like full on, like flashing like lights of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, like purple. It was just all kinds of things. Head spinning, body moving. It felt like being electrocuted, but not. Well, I've never been electrocuted before, so I don't know. But that's like. But it was like uncontrollable. You know. Pulsations. They were just uninhibited, like pulsations throughout the body. And I mean, neck was cracking, shoulders were rotating, back was arched, back was forward. I mean, everything. So I remember being afraid, like, yo, being in the bathroom one time, and like really being afraid and praying to God and saying, Lord, is this like a demon? Is this demonic energy? Is this dark energy? And at that moment, I looked up and saw myself in the mirror, and my head was like, it was my head and my neck and my whole body was moving like that of a snake. It was like a serpent, and as it moves up, you were just in this flow, and it wasn't a smooth flow, but it was a flow, as if I could tell that these serpents were moving up my spine, and these chakras are essentially these like nodes, these central pieces of energy. It's almost like you're traveling down a highway, and there are these checkpoints, and after you get to the next checkpoint, there's something there. I mean, it's like from checkpoint to checkpoint, and these chakras are, you know, deal with specific things. The heart chakra is different from the solar plexus chakra, and the solar plexus chakra is different from the throat chakra, where the thyroid gland is. And I mentioned in part two how I was having these a part of the physical breakdowns, or the physical manifestations of the kundalini, was leading me to these indulgences of eating. These almost like the opposite of an eating disorder. Maybe it is an eating disorder. Like, I felt like I had a tapeworm. It was like I could eat so much, I could never be full. I mean, I'm talking like plates and plates of food. I mean, like mountains of food. And people are like, "Yo, Gabe, you're not even that big of a person. Like, how are you consuming this much food?" People were actually like worried about it. Like, "Yo, what's going on?" Like, it's like one of my managers like, "Yo, Gabe, looking at you eat is like looking at the episode of Man versus Food." It's like he's like appalled. He's astonished at how I would have these plates of, like, you know, I worked on the cruise ship, so we could have like buffets. It was buffets style, so it was like a burger, and then like a full plate of salad, but then potatoes, and then rice, and French fries or something, and vegetables, and then a soup, and then some fruit, and it was like, yo, like, all you have so much shit. Like, one person could probably just eat the salad. One person can just eat the soup, the fruit, and then maybe a piece of the burger. But like, I would be clearing that shit. I would be clearing it, and I feel like that was, that dealt with my Kundalini energy moving, and it wasn't it hadn't made its way through the throat chakra yet. It hadn't made its way through the pineal gland. It hadn't made its way through the crown chakra. So as the kundalini rises and it gets to the top, to the crown chakra, imagine that serpent, imagine those twin serpents, that divine masculine, the divine feminine. Imagine that solar energy and that lunar energy. Imagine that the yin and the yang. Imagine that conscious self and that subconscious self. Imagine, just that Christ-like force as it travels, as it just, it's a slow, it's a journey. I'm still in it right now. I just don't have those same levels of, I just don't have those same reactions like that. But the Kundalini energy still permeates. There is still permutations of that energy to this day. But at that time, yeah, there were violent shakes, and I remember looking at the mirror saying, Lord, is this the devil? Is this dark energy? Is this a demonic force? And I wanted to repent, but the Lord told me it was not. The Lord told me it was not. His words weren't saying no, this is not. But I found out that, as I was shaking, there was something that, because I didn't make myself look up, it was almost like my eyes opened up and I was staring in the mirror, and the Lord almost was like, don't you ever question what is going on. And he wasn't upset, almost like, don't question my authority. I'm an inquisitive person by nature. And I feel like as human beings, we're searchers, we're seekers. We want to know, we want to be enlightened. But I just never had this happen to me before, and I was using my own rationale. I was using my own logic and my own reason to say, like, I've never experienced psychosis before. Am I going crazy now? Is there something within me now that's dark? Like, what happened? And it was beyond my leaning on my understanding. Okay, and I think the truth of the matter is, in order for this kundalini to fully manifest, and that energy, for that pure self, for that unison between the solar and lunar, for that unison between the yin and the yang, your upper and lower, your passive and your active self, your the from the external world and the permanence and the impermanent world, and your spiritual self, for that to converge, to culminate, to fully manifest in a in a way that is supernatural, that is transcendent. Instead of thinking about it, and instead of trying to control it, instead of trying to question it, instead of trying to analyze it, the best thing for me, and I think this would be for you too, if you ever were experiencing this, or in the time will come when you will, the best thing to do is just to surrender. I have, to this day, issues and challenges with letting things happen. I am I took one of those, like, I think it's a saboteur test, and it talks about, your strengths or your traits. And on my saboteur test, a saboteur, I was always thinking about, like, the word sabotage, right? So a saboteur or sabotage is something that can, like, plague you, or provide you with some level. It could be a hindrance, or it could be something that can almost like prevent greatness or your excellence or your prominence from uh, coming into fruition, and or prevent something that's good. A saboteur can take something that's good and make it bad. But at the same time, those traits can be flipped and be something that are your greatest assets, your greatest characteristics. So on my test, it was like, I am a hyperachiever. All right, I expect a lot of myself, and not only do I expect a lot of myself, evidently I tend to achieve whatever it is that I that I have projected for myself, right? So that's a good thing. If you're a hyperachiever, it also can be maybe not so good depending on who's around you, because it's like you can become a tyrant. You can become this domineering, dominant, unstoppable, but yet at the same time unpleasant force that is like charging ahead, and sometimes you're kicking people over, kicking down trees, kicking doors down, burning up the forest just because you want to tread your path to whatever it is, and you're not aware of who you're affecting around you. Maybe through your words, through your behavioralisms, or your behaviorisms, through your fucking, mannerisms, like whatever the case may be. You might be affecting your family, you might be affecting your friends, you might be affecting the outside world, nature, based on your hyper achievements, and you striving to achieve these goals. But the bottom two were like me being controlling and me being restless, right? So it's like I want to control my outcome, so much so that I might lose sleep over it, which makes perfect sense. So it's like I don't fall asleep easily. I don't just go to bed and just, life is a good day. I mean, I am naturally a happy person, but I'm always thinking. My brain doesn't turn off, and meditation has helped with that. Meditation has helped calm the incessant perpetual fluctuations of the mental waves that in each wave can take us from one thought to the next thought to the next thought. And that's how you can, you started off at shore and then you end up off in the ocean. Have you ever been to the beach and you just put your feet, at the shore, where the water just, you know flows, and it splashes on your feet, and you can just stand still and feel like you're not moving, and get lost into the abyss of the ocean, and then you look, then you look down like 5 minutes later, and you have slowly been pushed into, and not literally pushed, but you thought you were standing still, but that water had been sweeping you, and that's sweeps you into further into the ocean. And that's what happens whenever you're not in control of your mind. You can be swept into your thoughts, and if your thoughts aren't always constructive, and which they aren't all the time, you think things that aren't true, you think things that are negative, you can think things that can hinder you. You can allow your thoughts to be a manifestation of your pride and your ego, and if you allow that shit to pull you, like on those, like if they're horses, if your senses are horses, if your ego is the chariot, man, you can be in that seat and just be taken on a ride. You could be taken on a ride, and I feel like, me being a controller, me being restless, me being a person who has these projections for myself, so to speak. And I have this destiny, or I've been destined, not because I say so, but literally it's because I say so. Because I felt this way and I felt natural about it. And it's like, no, I'm not a regular person, whatever that means. I'm not a normal person, whatever the fuck that means. It's like I am supposed to be greater, not because of my physical manifestations, because I want to achieve so much, and me controlling how that was going to work does not coincide with the universal plan. It does not coincide with me being congruent and being in unison with a divine, with God's plan, with God's divinity, with God's sovereign nature, for gratitude, for love, and for me being fully present. I mean, I wasn't appreciating, and I wasn't fully understanding, and I wasn't fully accepting God's provisions, God's words, God's altruistic and benevolent, disposition in nature through the Holy Spirit, through the manifestation of Jesus Christ. I wasn't accepting. I wasn't saying I wasn't accepting that, but it wasn't. I didn't have control of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I can read the Bible, I can go to church with my parents, but like, I can't control all of that type of stuff. I can control me. So I figured, like, if I go hard, if I do the 500 push-ups in a day, if I go smack and talk to the 50 women at the shopping mall, like, my numbers are going to get up, because I can control what I can do. I can control my body. I can control who's going to be receptive to me. I can control what I'm going to make in the workplace, because when I put myself in the market, fuck a bull, fuck a bear market, man, this is the goon market, and I'm going to show my face. And I felt like that's how I wanted to operate. And there's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, it can be. It's not just a bad thing to think that way. it's going back to what I'm saying. You're leaning on your own logic. You're leaning on your reason. You're leaning on your understanding, and that's a cap on it. I'm just the flesh. I'm just the vehicle. I'm just the human, and there's a cap on my quote unquote intelligence. And who gave me this intelligence? There's a cap on my competence or my lack thereof. There's a cap. There's a cap on all of that, because I'm trying to achieve this and manifest this through the physical self, through the physical realm, by me, I, to get things for mine. I want things to be for mine. I want things for me. I want this for me. I want to do this for me. And once you start speaking that, once you articulate that, once you manifest that, you manifest those selfish desires. And that's not going to go down with the Kundalini energy, because the Kundalini energy is I made this reference before. The Kundalini energy is like taking your automobile, or taking your mobile device, whether it's a phone, or it's a tablet or a computer, whatever the case may be, and you're upgrading it. You're taking your automobile, and you had this the model and this make, and you went into the body shop and they stripped everything. They took the doors down, they pulled out the engine, they went underneath. They put your shit on the whatever it's called, and they started spinning the tires, recalibrating the tires. Matter of fact, they probably put some new tires on. Like, that's what the Kundalini energy does. You have to unlearn, and you are deconditioning, and you are recalibrating, and you are reprogramming yourself. Like, you're taking your old operating system and you're getting a brand new one. You're taking your application programming, your whole interface, and you are shifting it, and you are augmenting it, and it's altered into a point where you're not going to be able to fully fathom. It will be inconceivable how you will be able to operate and function at these new levels. But you must surrender. You must surrender your ego. You're going to surrender your old ways of things. And I think that's what I want, part 3 of the Kundalini of this video to really be about. I was unlearning. I was unlearning my old ways, my old pathologies, my old doctrines, my old principles that I lived by. And I wish I could say it was easy. Actually, I don't wish it was easy, because if it was that easy, I probably wouldn't have respected it. I really wouldn't have taken heed to it. I was forced to take heed to this energy because, well, for one, and I'm being honest, it was because my lack of erections. Like, that's something, like, as a man, that is is truly important to us, as it would be obvious. That's how we procreate. But that's where our creative, and like the word create, like, you create a bond with a woman when you are able to take your relations, your relations to a intimate and physical level. You can be intimate without being physical, but it does extremely, exceedingly, exponentially impact your connection with that person when you and a woman, when the masculine and the feminine, when the divinity can culminate and coalesce into a sexual experience. It does transcend what is on the earthly realm. And when that is taken from you, like, when that spirit is taken from you, when that ability, that capability is removed from you, I was forced. I can't say I just woke up one morning and said, I'm going to surrender to the Kundalini energy. No, it took me years to realize, Gabe, you're not having sex. And it's not going down. Not going down according to the parameters that you had set before you. Couldn't going down according to the guidelines that you live by. Not going down according to the principles that you used to live by. It's not going down anymore. I couldn't physically, spiritually, emotionally look at pornography anymore. Not because my eyes were rejecting it. It's because when I was looking at it, I couldn't masturbate. There was no flow. There was nothing going through. And then it was the emotional and psychological and the mental ramifications. I was like, Gabe, you know what you're doing. Like, when the Kundalini moves, it will pain you to be looking at those types of things. It's like, for fuck's sake, like, damn, I just wanted to find some way to circumvent the system. I felt like, oh damn, since I can't have sex, maybe let me just turn on this flick and let me just look at the lesbian ass eating like I used to. Like, no, bro, like, it's not going down. It's not going down. Maybe if I just go hard and do what I need to do and work out more and do more push-ups and run more, maybe my health is going to change. Being healthy is great, but no, still no sex, still no erections. So, like, these were the things I had to face, I mentioned before, in order for you to become the archetypal hero and to fully surrender to the Kundalini energy. One, you must believe that the higher power, the universal force of nature, will provide you with the provisions to ascend, to grow, to self-realize, for you to become the archetypal, quintessential optimal version of yourself. But if you want to achieve optimal resilience, if you want to overcome adversity in life, to be able to be that permanent, supernatural, enlightened, presence that can impact each and every, element of life, any aspect of life, any person that comes across you is going to be feeling something like, yo, there's something with this person. You're gonna get bigger than yourself. And when I say get bigger than yourself, it's not like you're gonna be bulking up. It's like, no, the what's inside of you will manifest in a outward, expressive, external way, and it's gonna be spiritual, but it's gonna be magnetic. And the way, and I'm not even there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just aware that it's going to happen that way, and you're going to have to unlearn things. And in order to achieve the optimal resilience, is for you to go face your fears. Wherever it is that you don't want to go, you need to go there. Whatever it is that you don't want to talk about, you need to talk about it. Whatever it is that you don't want to look into, you need to look into it. Like, I'll end it like this. If you're a kid and you were scared of quote unquote monsters under your bed, like, if I'm in the room, I'm gonna tell you the first thing we must do right now before fuck all the bullshit. Let's go underneath the bed and let's go face these monsters head on, face first, straight up. Let's grab the bull by the horns. If you're afraid of the darkness, because as a kid, I used to be a little afraid of the darkness. When I say little, it's like, no, when I would be downstairs watching TV at night, as soon as I would turn off the lights, I would run up the steps, like, full speed, like, just to be downstairs by myself in the darkness was scary to me. So that means what? Like, as an adult or as whatever the case may be, in order for me to fully mature, I need to put myself in the darkness. And the darkness could be the physical sense of me being downstairs as a kid, like, oh no, the lights are off. But the darkness is really the evil within you. It's really the shame that's in you. It's really the greed, the envy, the jealousy that's in you. It's your fears that are within you. It's insecurities that are within you. And that's how the Kundalini made its way up through the spine, through the chakras, and started to manifest. That's how that went down. Namaste. Namaskar.